This is Penelope. She's my cat. She's black and white, 7 years old, 7 pounds, very sweet, and very shy. I adopted her from Treehouse Humane Society in Rogers Park on February 9th, 2019. She's not very bright, but she tries her best. She's often in her own little world. And this is her story. Penelope was found as a stray somewhere on the streets of Chicago in November of 2018 and brought to the Humane Society. She immediately withdrew from everyone and hid under a little platform in the shelter for most of her 3-month stay. That is, until I came to the shelter and fell in love with her. I brought her home in a cardboard carrier, and she promptly found the sock drawer under my bed to hide for about 3 days. When she finally came out to sit with me, I was ecstatic. She was learning to trust me. I know her story, but I was wondering how she felt about her journey from the streets of Chicago to the studio apartment. Let's ask her. Hi, Penelope. How are you doing today?
I am well.
Excellent. So, Penelope, tell me about yourself.
Well, basically I'm a cat. I like to lay on things and sleep.
That's nice. I was thinking more like your story. Let's start when you were born.
I was born at some point in 2013. I lived on the streets somewhere in Chicago and just tried to survive day to day.
That must have been very difficult. What was the hardest part?
Trying not to get hit by cars.
The vet said you might have been hit by a car at some point in your life.
I don't really remember much of my youth, but that seems likely.
Okay, so for your first 6 years, not much. But then you were captured by the Humane Society, right? Tell me about that experience.
That is correct. Some people lured me into a cage with food and trapped me in. I was betrayed.
Wow, that sounds traumatic. But then they brought you to the shelter, right? That must have been better.
I suppose. The shelter had a bunch of different rooms with cats and toys everywhere. I was very overwhelmed and spent most of my time trying to hide from staff, other cats, and adopters. No one wanted to adopt me because I was always hiding.
But then someone did adopt you, right?
Yes, it was you.
It was. I thought you were the most beautiful kitty there ever was. I sat with you for a half hour before deciding that you were my cat. What did you think of me when we first met?
I thought you were large and scary like other humans, but I was glad to get out of the shelter. You brought me home in a cardboard carrier and put me on the bathroom floor.
How was that first night home for you?
Very scary. At first, I didn't know where I was. I couldn't get out of the box because it was too cramped. But then you came with scissors and cut the box open. You hid behind a wall and let me explore the house. I set up shop under your bed for about 3 days until I figured you weren't going to hurt me like everyone else. I jumped up on the couch with you and you cried for some reason.
That's only because I was so proud of you for being brave.
The sock drawer was getting cramped and the couch seemed comfy. I also like to be petted.
So the adoption was a success. How did you settle into life at the Versteeg studio apartment?
Slowly but surely, I realized you were my mom and you were very nice to me. You stayed mostly still and quiet and let me come hang out with you. As the months went by, I became more comfortable with you and got less scared when you moved around the house.
You are a very good girl. Now that we're almost a year and a half into life together, how would you describe your life day to day?
I usually wake you up a half hour before your alarm goes off by walking over your sleeping body and digging my hands into your ribs. I like when you wake up because you pet me and talk to me very sweetly. You get up to go to work and I sleep all day until you get home. Then, I like to sit with you on the couch while you watch TV and do homework. Sometimes I have to hide under the bed because you move around too much or I just want to be alone. I try to play with you, but I would rather just sleep. If I'm not sleeping, I'm eating or staring off into space. I wait for you to get in bed at night so we can cuddle and do it all again the next day. I would say life is pretty good here.
Well, I'm glad it is, Penny. Do you have any closing remarks?
Not really. Can I go back to sleep now?
Yes, you can. Thank you for talking with me about your life today.
Don't mention it.